All right, but let me start with this. What are we going to do with our little friends here? We got a couple of little friends over here. They're going to be affected by this too?
Of course not. I'll bet you dollars to donuts they'll be right here.
You think so? Oh, especially if those guys are feeding them. All right.
I'll feed them.
All right, well tell me what's going on. Erica, who are these guys?
This is Dave Ronzuto. He's our emergency management coordinator.
Yeah.
And he is working as the project manager for this Easy Street Bulkhead construction project. This is Jim Boudreau. He's from Vertex. And he is the town's on-call OPM, which is owner project manager. And he just helps us out on the back end on a lot of projects for the town.
The big news is if we were able to do the work from the water side with a barge, this would be a non-contender. But the fact that we can't, because it's so shallow and we can't get the barge in here, we have to do the work from the roadway. And we obviously need to use a pretty large crane to be able to set the sheet steel. So we're going to start on that end so we can get a couple full sheets under that bulkhead. It'll continue 125 feet. New steel, coated steel. There'll be pilings. As you see now, there's some missing. We'll have pilings all along. The important thing is it's going to have a wooden cap instead of a steel cap so it won't rot. There'll be a scupper underneath the cap to let the water that does get behind here drain. And more importantly, there's 4 storm drains in this bulkhead. Currently what happens is when we get a plus tide, anything over 3-4 feet, those storm drains flood, or those pipes flood, and the water comes back up behind the bulkhead. That's why this road ends up getting closed.
Didn't we just fix this though?
No. This bulkhead was built in 1933, 34. Hasn't had anything done to it since then.
I thought we repaired it after a storm.
Sidewalk construction.
Oh, we did
sidewalk reconstruction.
That's
because the sidewalk gets
other
washed
part.
away during the big storms.
That's the other part of the bulkhead. The bulkhead itself has failed. It's wood, and it's failed at the mud line. So what happens is the water gets driven underneath, the sand gets washed out, and the bricks collapse. So that'll all get
So what
fixed.
happens over at that person's property?
We tie into that bulkhead. The bulkhead gets straightened out, that jog gets taken out of it.
But you're not fixing that bulkhead?
No.
So what happens over there? That's been redone?
That's been redone within the last...
But yet that one's lower than ours is going to be, right?
Yeah, well, it's lower only in the sense that the top is lower. Ours, the main thing for ours is the fact that any water that does get back here, rain or storm water or whatever, will now have the opportunity to drain. And we'll tie into that bulkhead, so it'll be one continuous piece. These people are the herds. They're talking about actually raising their building up out of the floodplain, just like Jonathan Rafe just built that building. Yep. Mrs. Killen is working to raise up her building because, again, they're in the floodplain, so they have to come up 3.5 feet. Dreamland already complied with that when they did their construction years ago. It doesn't look like it, but there's a concrete foundation underneath there, so it's up. So it's eventually, that's what's going to have to happen down here in the floodplain.
Okay. Jim, what was your role in this, and where are we sitting?
Vertex, being the owner's project manager, is going to assist Dave in keeping track of the files and an extra set of eyes and ears for him and the town to make sure things are going the way they should and on schedule.
What's the schedule going to be like?
I believe the schedule we went over this morning is starting October 17th and ending mid-January.
Mid-January?
Yeah.
Okay. So what does this mean, Erica, as far as traffic and getting around? What are we looking at here?
So Easy Street, this section of Easy Street is going to be closed. From Cambridge Street to Old North Wharf, that'll still be open, but from that point forward to right about where that red car is, this whole section is going to be closed during the entire duration of the project.
Will people be able to drive down and go up easy?
They will. They'll be able to come down Easy Street so they can access Still Dock or Old North Wharf, and we're actually going to reverse the traffic on Cambridge Street so that cars are now going to come from Easy Street to South Water Street, just so that they have a way to get back out.
So no parking on those streets?
We're going to allow one side of parking because it's not going to be two-way. It's only going to be a one-way direction.
Got it, of course.
So one way from Easy Street to South Water Street with parking on one side. And then down here, Oak Street is going to remain the same as well, and people will still be able to come down Oak Street to access the steamship if they want. The biggest thing is the truck traffic. So the tractor trailers, the UPS trucks, Sun Island trucks, all of that we're going to be using the reverse truck route, which brings them Matticat Road, down Cliff, and then Easton Street, South Beach Street, and then Broad Street in front of the strip is going to be completely no parking at all at any time to allow for two-way truck traffic.
I see.
Because that's going to be the main artery to the Steamship Authority. And then coming out of town, thankfully, it's going to be business as usual. Trucks will still be able to come in their normal route going out of town.